But this is what I'm trying to tell you. You didn't have to go through drugs, and that was the wrong choice I made in my life because people were teasing me and my self-esteem was low. And that happens in school. Some of our children are crying out for help, but it's here to come for help to anybody. And I was one of them. I didn't seek help, and I didn't know it was out there. But there's help out there now, more than it was back when I was in high school. Now, from my high school year, it manifested into who I was then. 17 years ago, I was a crack addict. Art plays a critical role in the life of our community because it enables us to see the world in a new way, and it shows us a touch of reality. This is reality. A long time ago in Egypt and further back, people could not read or write. They relied on pictures, music, and just art to understand what was going on in order to know about God or anything else. They relied on that. Here, begging and pleading still for someone to stop doing drugs. Now, although you don't see his father here, but his father's in the picture. Because the first thing they kids look at is their mother. We're supposed to take them at all times because we're the one who birthed them. They don't look at the father, they come to look at the mother. Mother's supposed to take them at all times. But was I? No. I care more about this pipe than I cared about him. He played football, and I never went to one of his football games, not one. Because I stayed home and stuffed on the crack pipe all the time, as much as possible. Put that first. As he graduated here, he had a math scholarship. Everyone knew he was going to college. But he couldn't go to college. Why? Look, he had no support here. No support at all in order for him to continue his school. How can he go to college? Come home to this all the time. How can he do any schoolwork and deal with this all the time? But see, he's crying. He could have went into the street and sold drugs. He could have been on drugs himself and rebelled and did that. No. I stole his choices away because of the choice I made to stuff on this crack pipe at a young age when I started doing drugs in the beginning because I couldn't deal with myself. Manifested into my life here where it affected my son. Stole his choice. Because now, he sees no other alternative but to join the military. Now, I ain't saying joining the military is bad, but in this case, what he did, he was escaping from this. From one war, an emotional war, to a physical war is what he escaped because he went in for education. And gave me my new life. But this young man saved 40 people and received the Bronze Star for bravery. Now, when I painted this picture, when my son called and said he was actually in Iraq and told me, Mama, I received the Bronze Star, but he never told me what he did. Exactly what he did. He just said he saved 40 people. So I pictured in my head exactly what might have happened. And here it is. When my son saw this picture, he started crying. He asked me, Mama, how did you know exactly what I did in Iraq? How did you know I carried this man? And I had to put his guts back in his stomach, in his intestines back, and I carried him up to the helicopter, but the man died in his arm. How did you know that? I didn't. It's something that I guess, vision that a mother has that's going on, that's really strong with their child. But I didn't know that, and my son, 26 years old, cried when he saw this picture. But you can just imagine that. But I was happy and proud of him, like I still am. When John the Baptist baptized, because we planted that seed in him. That seed, we told him about God. So he surrendered himself, got on his knees, confessed to the Lord, say, thank you, Jesus, for saving my family. And he got baptized, where there were 40 people with him. 40! Asking the question, why you got to get baptized in that river? They didn't even know the history about God. They didn't know nothing. They just knew he was getting baptized, and my son asked the chaplain to baptize him because he went back for the second tour in Iraq. Then he went a little further because he knew how powerful God was. See, he had no fear. Because of how many people you know would actually re-enlist in the army and go through the tours again in Iraq. My son knew the power of God. He had the armor of God around him. My son got re-enlisted in Iraq while he was out there on his second tour, when he had to do a third tour. Because now he has no fear. He knows God has him. He wasn't fearing no bullets, no guns, no bombs. He knew God had him. He knew God was going to protect him, then on, and protect his family, because now his family's been clean. See, that's when he decides to make it his choice in life. I call this one his choice. Because as I stole his choice in the beginning and made him join the army, turned his life around when he had to join the army to escape, he re-enlisted and made it his own choice now because he knew God had him. Because look at him. He's looking up in the air. He knows the armor of God is around him. He's looking so strong. Look at his chin. He knows God has him and is going to bless him continually. Although you see his history here, but it's still strong because now this man still is a paratrooper because he jumped out of airplanes. But God starts trickling down and blessing him. Blessed him with a brand new wife right after his third tour in Iraq. Blessed him with 2 beautiful new children. And his brother and sister are doing fine. And his mother and father are clean and sober off drugs.
You think you got something new? It's nothing new. You know, I used to think that, I used to tell my grandparents, oh, y'all don't know what y'all talking about. You know, we got this, we don't drink that, we don't drink that moonshine, we drink wine. And they said, that's all right, we had it too. So the thing of it is that talk to someone, talk to your parents, let them know what's going on in your life. The peer pressure. You know, if people are trying, your kids at school are trying to get you to use drugs, say no. So the problem, everybody has different problems. Communication is the key. And I know there's nothing your parents wouldn't do for you. There are times when the world seems to be caving in around us, when we have received some bad news, know we're going to be the bearer of bad news. When life seems to be so confusing and we feel all alone. Believe it or not, that's when the choices are the most critical. Because we tend to make wrong choices when we have pressure on us. When we are under attack. So you need to stop, step back, and take a thought. I always say, whenever I close the radio show or TV show, I always say this, and it's something that I will continue to say. Today is the first day. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. Not your mama's life, not your daddy's life, your sisters and brothers. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. See, for me, I'm going to continue to serve God. I'm going to stay clean and sober. But remember this, whatever you do, your choice will affect somebody, your child, your parents, or your children's children. Thank you.